All right, well, hello everyone and happy Thursday. It's digital host A.J. Wuest here, welcoming you back to Before the Four. Of course, the live stream where I go through some of 48's top news stories and then some before our 4 o'clock newscast. I say it every day wherever you're watching Before the Four this afternoon, whether it's on Facebook, YouTube, or the 48 Now live stream. As always, thank you so much for watching and spending just a bit of your Thursday afternoon here. Now first, let's begin with a look at the weather. It is staying hot and humid out there as we near the end of the week. Hopefully you're all staying cool and hydrated in this very hot summer weather. Storms could potentially be moving in, however, for later this afternoon and evening. Let's turn over to 48 First Alert meteorologist Jeff DeNoyer for what we can expect weather-wise. Jeff?
Very good Thursday to everybody. What a difference a day makes. Last 2 days, high temperatures like upper 90s, feels like 103, 106, 108, 109. The temperature just kept going up with both days, right? So then we get this like unexpected convection last night. I mean, I didn't have it in the forecast, from 3 to about 7, 3 to 8. And what that did was it made it so hard to warm up this morning that the temperatures were so close to like 80 or 90 by late morning the past couple of days. We're just getting to 90 now this afternoon, and therefore it's not nearly as hot and it's not nearly as uncomfortable. Now we still have to track a few thunderstorms this evening. Some of the rainfall heavy at times. It favors areas east of I-65, a lot of lightning and some gusty winds, and then just cloudy for the remainder of the night, 70s. We go into tonight, those showers and thunderstorms could produce some heavy rainfall too and gusty winds, especially as they first move into areas northeastern Alabama. Then the chance of rain will go up as we go into the weekend. In fact, we'll turn our attention from heat and humidity to what could potentially be just a true soaker for Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, especially Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday. And at that point, we'll probably be focusing on some flash flooding potential with some very heavy rainfall. At any time you have a storm, whether it's the weekend or early in the week, there could be some gusty winds and some dangerous lightning. If you have any outdoor plans that you're thinking about doing Saturday and Sunday, I don't know if you're going to try to find pool time or do a little fishing or whatever the plans are. Obviously, keep an eye with the WAFF 48 weather app for any storms that fire up in your area, because once again, they'll have plenty of lightning. It looks like those storm chances will continue not just for early next week, but into Wednesday and Thursday as well. At this time, it looks like all the rain will come to an end in time to spare us a dry July 4th. But then the rainfall may come back for the weekend on Saturday night into Sunday. Stay with 48 for the very latest. We'll keep that 10-day forecast updated for you.
No, I am not liking what I see on the 10-day, that is for sure. I like it this week. It is hot this week, but it's been nice to not have any storms. I mean, we did have a little bit of a storm yesterday afternoon, a little bit of rainfall. I know out in Jackson County, they got it pretty bad, a lot of thunderstorms and everything out there. But don't forget Weather Extra tonight at 9:30. First Alert meteorologist Jeff DeNoyer, he'll be back here in the CTV Center, and he'll have all the latest that he is seeing on the radar. Jeff always has a great time with it, so you're just not going to want to miss it. And make sure to leave a comment, because Jeff will shout you out. He just loves what he does there with Weather Extra. And again, you can watch it wherever you're watching Before the Four right now. But now we're going to head into a bit of news in Huntsville, where earlier today we learned that a man was arrested and charged with first-degree assault following a shooting last night. Now, the shooting happened just before 9 p.m. yesterday on Jeff Road. Police say an investigation found that 26-year-old Zephaniah Gosa, that's who you're seeing on screen, was involved in a confrontation with the victim. Gosa allegedly took out a gun during that incident and shot the victim. Police say the victim was brought to an area hospital and continues to be treated. Gosa, however, is being held in the Madison County Jail. But now a story in case you missed it. Take a look at this. Toxic and invasive hammerhead worms have been spotted across North Alabama. Recent rain showers have washed these worms out of their underground homes. Carrie Deans, a professor at UAH, recommends to make sure if you see this worm around to not cut it, since they can regenerate. So if you cut a piece off the worm, that piece becomes a new worm. Deans does recommend, though, to use salt or vinegar to kill the worm if you see it. Hammerhead worms are toxic to touch. They produce a neurotoxin that is also found in pufferfish. These worms are the only terrestrial invertebrate that produces this toxin. So although the worms won't pose much of a threat to you, it's still a good idea to not touch them with your bare hands. If your pet eats a hammerhead worm, it could get sick. Now, hammerhead worms are also harming people's gardens by eating other types of worms. Thankfully, there haven't been any reports of a person getting sick or dying after coming into contact with them. So far, there have been sightings in Athens, Muscle Shoals, and all over Madison County. But now we're going to take a quick break, but coming up after the break, I'll take you through a few other stories in case you missed them. What the ICE director here in Alabama has to say about the ongoing raids in the Yellowhammer, and yesterday new regulations went into effect regarding truck drivers. It's all ahead. We'll go through it all in 1 minute. All right, well, hello and welcome back to Before the Four. Now let's talk about the ongoing ICE raids happening here in our state. Yesterday, 48's Nick Ballinger spoke with the ICE director, who says ICE raids have been going, quote, very successful, end quote. This comes after the arrest of 36 undocumented immigrants at a construction site of a high school in Gulf Shores. Nick Ballinger with more.
Anyone that employs illegal aliens will be coming.
That's the message from P.J. Lavoie, Assistant Special Agent in charge of Alabama's HSI Division, after the arrest of 36 undocumented immigrants at a construction site of a high school in Gulf Shores. Lavoie Superior Stephen Schrank says this wasn't the first time it's happened in Alabama.
Have they happened here in North Alabama?
Yes.
How successful have those been?
Very.
He says raids happened under the previous administration, just less frequent and on a smaller scale, and they certainly did not garner this kind of attention or draw the ire of some many.
The reality is many of the laws on the books have been in place for many years. Our new administration, beginning right away in January, said we are not going to limit ICE.
Just like the Gulf Shores worksite and others, ICE agents are tipped off to where undocumented immigrants may be working. To have probable cause, they only need to confirm one individual is undocumented to search the entire business.
It is not random. They are not just showing up at a random place, knocking on the door saying, hey, do you have any aliens working in the back? We're going out to businesses that are known or suspected of hiring or harboring illegal aliens.
What about those doing the hiring?
We can take criminal or civil action against those employers. They could be fined or they could even face jail time. We have ongoing criminal investigations against employers.
Schrank says local law enforcement cooperation is the biggest difference between Alabama and blue states when it comes to ICE raids. ICE is allowed to be with local law enforcement at any time, such as traffic stops, DUI checkpoints, and executing search warrants.
And if they are in a car full of other individuals that are illegal aliens, they're all going to get taken into custody.
Well, now new regulations are now in effect regarding truck drivers and speaking English. There will now be harsher penalties for drivers who cannot speak the language. President Trump signed an executive order back in April saying truckers who can't read or speak English proficiently will be, quote, put out of service, end quote. That new order officially went into effect yesterday. 48's Noah Cowell spoke with several truck drivers who support the new executive order. Noah Cowell with the story.
Each trucker I spoke to today is in support of this move. They say anyone who can't read road signs or communicate with police isn't fit to drive these heavy trucks, as they put themselves and everyone else in danger. Since 2016, state troopers have often conducted roadside inspections of 18-wheelers, and if the truckers weren't proficient in English, they just receive a citation. But now, they get their license taken away entirely.
Alabama truckers represent the highest quality in our industry. They can't afford to hire people who can't proficiently drive a truck or communicate in English because of the litigation environment that's out there.
Local trucker Jose Reyes agrees, saying this order is necessary after seeing several horrible truck crashes involve drivers who don't speak English.
There was one in Colorado and one in West Virginia, I believe, that were tragic. It was terrible. And if this helps prevent another situation like that, then it's a good thing.
But as a non-native English speaker, Reyes says it's harder than you think to judge a driver's English proficiency in an inspection when they're already coming in nervous and may make some mistakes in their speech.
Law enforcement is going to be able to have to really look at that and say, okay, wait a minute. Hey, take a step back, take a couple deep breaths. I'm going to ask you the question again, and let's move forward. But if it's something that they're going to use to automatically red flag people or automatically disqualify people, I think that's going to be a big problem.
Reyes' other concern is that stereotypes may come into play during these inspections, but he says so far in his experience, all other inspectors have been professional and treated him with respect. Reporting in Huntsville, Noah Cowell, 48 News, on your side.
Well, now let's talk about the stories you're just not going to want to miss coming up in our evening newscast. A Huntsville foster parent sentenced on sex crimes. 48's Faith Delp will have more details on that story coming up. The groundbreaking for a new event center in Huntsville. Get that story. And finally, an expansion to Big Spring Park. And these are just a few of the stories you're just not going to want to miss coming up in our evening newscast. And it is 3:52. That means it's time for Facebook Fun. And of course, today, our 48 Facebook question of the day. If you could listen to one musician or band for a long road trip, who would you choose? And I asked this question because I know 4th of July is coming up. And this year's 4th of July is expected to be the busiest on record. So if you're traveling for 4th of July, maybe you're going on a long road trip, who is a musician or band you would choose to listen to? And let's see what you all had to say. For me, I don't know if I could choose just one. I have a very diverse range, taste of music, so I listen to a lot. I don't know if I can narrow it down to just one artist or musician or band. But let's see what you all had to say, and you all had some super awesome comments. Bob Seeger, that's what Joe Dean said. Sharon Snyder said, Sweet Home Alabama by Leonard Skinner. Just have it on repeat. That's the only song you need to listen to. 100%. Chris said Fish. Now, Fish is a band I actually had not heard of until the other day. My coworker said it reminds him a lot of a kind of a modern day spin to the Grateful Dead. He's going to see a show coming up pretty soon. Melissa said Prince, an absolute legend. Byron said Jason Isbell, and that is our very own Tennessee Valley's own Jason Isbell from the Shoals, 100%. He is performing at, I believe, Shoals Fest in October, so super exciting stuff there. Troy said Def Leppard, another classic band there. Here, speaking of classic bands, Led Zeppelin, that's what Mike said. Cannot go wrong with a little Zeppelin in the mix, 100%. Adele. Now, Adele's music just doesn't get old. She has such an incredible, powerful voice. Thank you so much for commenting. And then the Eagles, talk about some chill music there. Susan Stockman said the Eagles. And yeah, absolutely. You cannot go wrong with the Beatles, especially in the summertime, or not the Beatles, the Eagles in the summertime. It is just the perfect band to listen to. You can almost hear like the sun shining on you when you're listening to the Eagles, especially on their record, Hotel California. I am spinning that one on my turntable nonstop, 100%. Well, thank you all for commenting on today's 48 Facebook question of the day. Some awesome comments there. And some other people had, I mean, that wasn't it. We had Metallica, we had Bon Jovi, we had Luke Combs. And that is just to name a few of these awesome comments. Shine Down, Alan Jackson, Tyler Childers, Pearl Jam, Bruce Springsteen. I mean, you all have great music taste, no doubt about it. Well, that is just about all the time I have for today's Before the Four, but thank you for sticking around and spending a bit of your Thursday afternoon here with me. I hope you all enjoyed tonight's evening newscast. Do something fun tonight. It is Friday Junior, and as always, thank you so much for watching. You all have a great night.